There were some moments where Aaron was talking to both the offensive coordinator Hackett and to his offensive line, where it wasn't just like the normal kumbaya motivation shit. It was like real football stuff. Like, hey, gonna have to do this. Like, this is how this actually goes. It's the NFL. This isn't college football. I appreciated that. And then there was a moment where Robert Saleh was talking to the offensive line in the middle and in front of the entire team that I don't think I've seen one of these in a long time published publicly, but I'm happy it was. But this also gives us an indicator of how the Jets feel about their offensive line, just like how the rest of the media is talking about the offensive line. This is Robert Saleh addressing the team after their first joint practice with the Carolina Panthers. So this is the first day that they get to play against somebody that isn't the New York Jets. Remember, the New York Jets defensive line, very fucking good. So Saleh was probably saying to himself, our offensive line doesn't look as great because our defensive line is so good. This comes after practicing against another team's defensive line for the first time on Hard Knocks last night.
So last night, I went back in my office, I turned off my lights, and I would just watch a silent tape. All right, you guys know how important to me the silent tape is, because the silent tape represents who the fuck we are. Defense, our style was all over this bitch yesterday. And it was awesome to see, because that's our standard, that's who we are. All right? Offense. Guys, it was our first fucking opportunity to change the stink that's been in this organization for a very long time on the offensive side of the ball. You can have a Hall of Fame quarterback. You can have two $10 million plus receivers. You can have a reigning offensive rookie of the year. You can have all kinds of skill in the running back room. None of it fucking matters until the big boys up front change who the fuck we are. We as coaches, we as an organization can't want it more than you. And I'm watching that tape all night last night, trying to find something to show that we're fucking changing, and it didn't show, and it was our first op. And I'd love to say we got another practice, but you know what? It's like Sunday. You don't get Monday morning to go redo. It's getting your mind right to represent who the fuck you are every single fucking time you are on the fucking field. We'll fix the footwork. We'll fix all that shit. But you can't fix shit until we know you're giving everything you got. Making it fucking hurt. Straining and fighting for everything you fucking got. Because we will go as you go. We proved last year that we're a 7-10 football team with a really fucking good defense and a mediocre offense. That's about what we proved. Flip that fucking shit. We don't get any more second chances.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I enjoy that it's in front of the entire team. I enjoy that Saleh said the uncomfortable thing. A lot of coaches, not saying a lot in the NFL, but a lot of coaches in general will shy away from that because it's not fun to be the bearer of negative news to anybody, let alone an entire group, and letting them know, hey, you are letting down the rest of us right now. The fact that Saleh has the gumption, the gut sack to do that shows me a lot about him as a coach. I'm assuming everybody else in the room was like, thank you, coach, because players are thinking the same exact thing. The coach delivers the message, and now hopefully the offensive line will hear that message and change. But I like the way Robert Saleh acted in Hard Knocks last night. I'm a big fan of what they got going, and I am a little bit worried about this offensive line, mostly because of how worried they seemingly are about the offensive line pack.
And I don't think we over-exaggerating or going too fast or too quick. If the offensive line don't get fixed, it's going to be a long season. And he said it best. You know, we playing for jobs out here. We done spent a whole bunch of money to get where we need to get. And you big guys up front got to get y'all ass together. And sometimes it take a little time for them to get together. So I'm not in a panic mode. I think with the weapons they have, it may take a little time, but they'll figure out how to get it going.
I hope so too, and obviously any offensive line has the capability, if they have the size and the ability to be in the NFL, to gel together and become a cohesive unit that is obviously great for your team to succeed. Have to have a good offensive line to have success in the NFL. That is just how it is. Not only in the NFL, but in football. In general. You have to have a good offensive line. Not a sexy job. Not one that is desired by me or many people, but have to have it be great for your team to be good. And Woody Johnson was talking to Robert Saleh last night about the contract that he paid Quinnen Williams. He said, exact quote from Woody Johnson to Robert Saleh about Quinnen, That's a lot of money.
Yep.
It's a lot of money we made that
play.
guy.
Yeah, but
He got 10 sacks in one practice in his eyes. Make it 11, Aaron Rodgers says, as he kept track. Love the way Aaron and the team seem to be bonding and coming together in the way they're practicing. But that offensive line thing wasn't just a Saleh thing. Aaron was talking about it a little bit, too, during the entire process.
Yeah, he was pissed. I think he said we're going to block anybody up front today when they were doing the Carolina Panthers, joint practice. And we mentioned it yesterday about how tough some of the D-lines they're going to be playing are, and that is definitely true. But we also talked about, and I'm not sure if it was before or after the show or during the show, like Hackett and Rodgers are going to game it. They're not going to go into every game expecting to have a great pass rush.
Hey, maybe we'll learn.
Yeah,
maybe we'll learn not to call that play from that formation, Yeah. Maybe. That's what Aaron was saying. Hackett was literally standing right here.
Rodgers will scheme it.
We learned a lot about Hackett, too. Flipped off Quinnen Williams in the middle of practice.
Love that.
Him and Aaron were getting into it a little bit. It's like, I really enjoy what I'm seeing out of this team, but it was a little alarming how they were talking about that offensive line. To go back to your point, they can scheme it, but also D-lines can just wreck games,
especially
no matter what your scheme is.
Especially in the AFC East. I mean, the strength. You could argue that the strength of everybody's team in the AFC East is their defensive line,
including the Jets.
Including the Jets, yeah, like they're going to be fantastic. And even in the preseason game, they showed it. The guy that was getting his piercings, the first-round pick, Will McDonald, he's going to be great.
Cool piercings.
Great piercings. Thinking about it myself, you guys should too. Quinnen Williams is going to be all pro, and then Jermaine Johnson's, not too shabby himself. But it does feel like the offensive line is going to be the Achilles heel of the team, and that might kill him in the end.
Not even just the East. Within the first 6 weeks, they also played Dallas, KC, and Philly, who all have fucking incredible defensive lines. So they're going to find out quick within those
What we're going to learn is every team probably has a good D-line.
The good ones, yeah.
Bad football teams won't have but good teams going forward are going to have a great defensive line. Why? Because the defensive line can affect who? The quarterback, which is where all the money is going on everything. You just kind of follow the money. You'll be able to figure out what is important to being successful. And you're talking about offensive lines on the other side protecting them. But, there's a reason why everybody's investing in the defensive line, because it's like scheme, strategy, cool. You get, Quinnen Williams in that shit, and that's just practice. And I get it. It's just training camp.
But shit.
He feels like a guy who got paid a lot of money, and now he wants to prove worth all this money.
Yes.
As opposed to potential defensive lineman or any other position group in the past who's gotten paid and said, okay, I got paid. I'm good to retire now.
Albert Ainsworth.
There's many other
Had to bring it
situations
up.
where this is taking place.
Job, Connor.
But he is seemingly, I don't know what he was like before, a leader on that team, loud on that team, entertaining on that team, and wants to be great. Talking shit in practice, like a lot of shit in practice. That means he's there and he cares. That's a big deal. They got a real squad. Can't let that offensive line fuck it up.
Well, and you assume that's part of the reason why they all are so worried about it is because, it may take a little bit of time for them to gel, but Tone mentioned, they have a murderer's row that first 6 weeks. You can't have your offensive line completely blow up the season if you go 1-5 the first 6 games because you can't protect Rodgers, and then you're just playing catch up the entire in a conference that you can't really afford to play catch up, because there are going to be there might be 10 teams that could legitimately be in a position to make the playoffs in the AFC.
The good news is they were a 7-10 team with that horrible offense last year. That's the floor. When you bring Rodgers in there, I mean,
and you got to realize when you got horrible lines, what do? Run the ball downhill
and get the ball out.
Run the ball downhill, get the ball out quick, because you can the bad play set. I mean, bad linemen is because of play set, because they came back and when it's on the pass rush. 90% of these guys can block really good when it comes to pass.
It is interesting how some guys are good pass protection and then not good run, which would make sense because you probably got to dance a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's some guys who are great at the run game and then going backwards, not that great. It is actual weakness. Now, obviously, everybody's looking for people that can go both ways that weigh 320 pounds. I mean, obviously, that's not easy to find. Jason Kelsey, 260 pounds, best in the game somehow at being so small. But, if they didn't run, Jason Kelsey probably wouldn't be as effective as a center in the NFL. But since he has the chance to jump on people and attack people, that helps him whenever they're trying to get 350 pounds on him going this way, because you're just hesitant for a second, defensive linemen are going to be naturally hesitant if there's a chance you're going to run the ball down their fucking throats. But those teams that just drop back and pass and pass and pass, you're basically letting that D-line, they say pin their ears back, and it's like as soon as that ball moves, I'm trying to get to the quarterback, as opposed to any fear at all of a helmet hitting them in the face because they know that the offensive line's going back. So there is ways to strategize and help your offensive line, but it's going to show up when it shows up.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? It's going to show up when it shows up. I hope they get it fixed. Don't love that they were as worried as they were about it, because whenever you hear the media talk about it, it's like, well, we're just media. We don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate the fact that the Jets let that out.
Yeah.
Like the Jets have to approve Hard Knocks, I do believe, because remember Florio's like, well, the Jets are going to prove something, and Aaron's not going to be happy.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a fight. Florio was like,
Might quit.
Set your calendar. Wednesday, August 16th.
Yeah.
Second episode. Jets going to prove something. Aaron's not going to like it. Aaron's going to hate the Jets. He's going to, like, that's what Florio was like hypothesizing could potentially happen. The Jets let all that out. I appreciate the Jets doing that.
Yeah.
Like, legit.
Sweet.
I very much appreciate them letting, because last night was like the rawest episode, I think, that we've seen of Hard Knocks in a long time. And that's the shit we need.